Hey, Shelby.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Of
I'm good. Thanks for taking the time just to chat about your experience with SeeBeyond Medicine.
course.
So I figured I'd ask you some questions and just learn about your journey. And you've come so far since working with us. September 2024 was when you first came in, and now it's April. So first question I have for you is, how did you find SeeBeyond Medicine? How did you discover us?
When I entered perimenopause and started having symptoms, I was actually on a message board, a Facebook message board, that had women talking about how they had pursued functional medicine. And that was the place that they had found the most success in terms of being taken seriously, having doctors who were women mostly, um, you know, be curious about their symptoms and not dismissive of what they were going through. And I had no idea what functional medicine was, but I kept seeing that phrase. And at some point, I think I just Googled it. And I think I Googled functional medicine and Westchester because I live in Westchester County in New York. And I think CBN might have been the first hit that I got.
Been around a long time.
Yeah, and
So
so
I'm not surprised if we're number one.
yeah, so I found the website and I was sort of clicking through and I think at that point um I think I was experiencing enough symptoms that had made me miserable that I really wanted to try and do something about it. I think I had been waiting it out to see whether or not the symptoms would maybe alleviate themselves and they just weren't. And so I wanted to do something a little bit more proactive and I figured why not give it a
Did
shot.
you try anything with conventional medicine before you came to us with doctors or?
Not really. I mean, I think I had gone the route of like I think so many women, uh, the supplement game, right? So it's like, try this supplement for night sweats, try this herb for better sleep. There's a whole cottage industry now around menopause and perimenopause. I mean, I think even in the year that I've been working with SeeBeyond, it's grown even more,
Everywhere.
which is good and bad. That I think it's great that there's more attention. Oprah had like her whole menopause thing recently on television. But I think that there's also a lot of there are a lot of sectors of that, and so it's really difficult because a lot of it is unregulated to actually know what
It could be
works.
so confusing and it might not be the
Right.
right thing for you. And I've seen that
Exactly. And
all
there's
over.
no guidance, right? So you're just sort of throwing spaghetti at the wall to see
Yeah.
what works. And I think that's what I had been doing, trying lots of things that didn't really work. And so I think I wanted guidance. I wanted someone who knew, who understood and had been working with other women who had gone through this. And I wanted something that was a lot more comprehensive. And so that's, I think I had my first conversation with Yvette, and then I think I was off and running into probably the most comprehensive blood panel I've ever experienced in
Yay.
my entire life.
Yep. Lots of
Yeah.
blood. And more. We might have done some add-ons for you too.
Yeah.
So tell me, when you were coming to us, what are the top symptoms you were feeling that you were trying to fix?
I mean, I think I was in the throes of, the hot flashes, sweating during the day, definitely night sweats. I was gaining weight in ways that um, was really baffling to me, consider myself a pretty active person. And it seemed like the things that I had been doing just weren't working anymore. Or, even if I was doing the same things, they didn't seem to work at all. I was not sleeping well. I was experiencing joint pain. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty miserable existence, like, you just don't feel good. And you're really just sort of pushing through, those bad feelings to just,
It
do
affects your
the
whole
daily
life.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it affects your
Um,
job, your relationships, I mean,
exactly.
everything. I know. I know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Next question I have for you is, obviously we did a lot of that testing. What do you think helped the most with our treatment plans and our approach to, balancing your hormones and getting some answers? What do you think helped you the most?
I mean, maybe it's because I'm a teacher, but I really respect when I see teaching in other professions. And I feel like, more than anything, this has been an education in a way that I think allowed me to understand why things are being done, why it's happening. That blood panel, I keep coming back to that, but that was astonishing to me. Like just to see, I've just never seen all of the inner workings of, my body through what the blood is telling. Like, what is the story that my blood is telling? And it was telling a lot that I didn't actually know about. And I think that has also borne out in subsequent blood panels that I have. Like I didn't know I was pre-diabetic, for example. And that's something that I've lately discovered as a part of my family history in a way that I wasn't aware of. So I think for me, like the education, and I think I have always functioned best when I know there's a reason for what I'm doing. Like I can point to something that explains why, I'm doing whatever it is. And I think that is for me, that's been every single step of working with, so many people at SeeBeyond. And everybody's just incredibly knowledgeable about so many things. And even when you think like, oh, this is like a throwaway question, they might not know what I'm talking about. Like I've been surprised on several occasions. Vanessa probably did this like the most recently. I had no idea that she specialized in like, cardiac surgery and like had an understanding of the heart. And I asked her just a random medical question about my partner's mom. And she had all of this information that actually informed the way that my partner went about seeking care. So this wasn't even related to me. Um,
Yeah,
and
at home. Yep.
yeah, and so I just could never have expected that I would get that kind of information just, from the folks who I've been working on like menopause stuff with. That there's just so much
So
more,
much more.
I think, knowledge and expertise that people who work, in the company have.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. And then when you have that information and apply it, and then your treatment gets created
Hmm.
based off your labs, like
Right.
your symptoms, your labs, what's going on with you. And then you watch it change. And that's
Right.
really cool too, right? When you watch not only the labs change, you're like, oh, this was imbalanced and not doing well. And now it's great, right? That's my favorite when we get to look at that and then you feel it too.
Yeah.
This isn't just on paper and labs, you feel it. So, next question would be, how are you feeling after like coming from there in September and now it's April? How are you feeling?
I mean, I feel really great. I feel like the, you know, the the energy that I just did not have. I was tired all the time. I think I remember some of my conversations with you. Um, maybe even like a few months ago, I think you were like, could you meditate at like 4 o'clock, like to get the energy boost? And I mean, I don't need to do that anymore. I mean, I feel like, my energy levels are pretty stable all the way through the day. I've started to take walks and things like in the middle of the day, which have also helped, but it's not a necessary thing. Like I don't need to do it. I think I'm sleeping way better than I was almost a year ago. I think the hormones have really changed a lot of things for me in terms of, I don't have the joint pain anymore. Physically, I feel stronger. I think it allows me to do, I didn't realize how much hormones had an impact on pretty much everything, and how everything functions. And so, I think as, the longer that I'm doing the hormone replacement therapy, that has, allowed me to do, other things that I really didn't have the energy to do before. Food. I mean, I think my eating and thinking about eating, I've never thought about eating in my life as much as I've thought about it in the last year. But it's informed, that I understand what macros are. Like I see people talking about that all the time. Now I actually understand what they are.
Get it.
I sat at a lunch table a couple weeks ago and someone was like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, "I have an answer for you." And they were like, "Oh, great, thank you." Um, yeah, I mean, I think that that has been probably the most transformative thing for me that, I'm doing all of this a few months before I turn 50. And I think that was for me really important to go into the next decade having some answers about and some direction in terms of my own health and what are the things that work for me specifically. Because I think there's just so much information out there, I mean, Instagram is ridiculous to people my age because it's like it's every mid to late 40s-year-old woman who's lifting weights and eating protein and it's like, do I need to do that? I mean, yes, I do, but I also need to do other things that are specific to me. And so I think that has been incredibly helpful that it's not just me sort of following trends, but really thinking about what specifically works for my body and why, and understanding why that's the case.
Yeah, yeah. And it's feeling better now, but it's doing all these things for longevity and prevention. It comes full circle a lot too.
Yeah.
So this was so awesome. Thank you for sharing
Of
with
course.
us. And honestly, what I find people that come to our practice or in general seek this sort of care, it's because of hearing women talk about their experiences. I mean, literally, you're one of them. You saw functional medicine on the posting, right? So
Mhm.
it's real.
Yeah.
You don't have to suffer. You could
Yeah.
feel better. You are a testament to that. So thanks for trusting us and
Of
thanks
course.
for working with us. And I'm just so excited to see where your health can go from here.
Me
It's
too.
awesome. You've
Me
been doing
too.
great. You're awesome. Thank you,
Thank
Shelby.
you. Thank you so much.